quorum being present, we will bring the meeting to order. I'd like to open the meeting by having the town clerk open the meeting, please.
Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Plymouth. To either of the constables of the town of Halifax and the county of Plymouth, greeting. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of said town qualified to vote in an election and in town affairs to meet at the Halifax Elementary School in said Halifax on Tuesday, the 8th day of September, next, at 7:30 o'clock in the afternoon, and then and there to act on the following articles. Pursuant to the within warrant, I have notified and warned the inhabitants of the town of Halifax by posting up attested copies of the same at Town Hall, Halifax Post Office, and 3 other public places in said town, 14 days before the date of the meeting as within directed. Thomas Hammond, Constable, August 19, 2015.
Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. One public service announcement that the Halifax and Lights is selling water bottles over in the room right outside there. Buy a water bottle, will keep you hydrated, and also will support the Halifax and Lights. Okay. So, the lottery has chosen Article 1 as the first article. It's proposed by the fire chief.
Mr. Moderator, I move Article 1 as printed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move Article 1 as printed. This is the fire chief. What fire
We
chief
will
says?
ask the fire chief to present the article.
Chief?
Jason Veras, Fire Chief. To give a little history on the article and on the project, back in fiscal year 2015, it was decided that one of our engines needed to be replaced. We had a 1996 engine and a 1989 ladder truck. At that time, the decision was made to replace an aging engine. When I was hired as the fire chief, we took a look at it and we decided that the 89 also needed to be replaced, and that by purchasing a multi-purpose vehicle, we would be able to purchase one vehicle that could serve dual purposes. So in December of 2014, we submitted an application to the Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program to replace our existing ladder truck with a vehicle called a Quint, which is an aerial platform truck with pump capabilities. We were told at that time that we had little to no chance of getting a grant for that type of truck, to replace that truck, because there was other AFG priorities. But we went ahead and we went through the motions and we filed a grant application anyways. When we came to the May town meeting, we still had not heard back and still were under the impression that we had little to no chance of getting that grant. We presented a plan to purchase the truck in a 5-year lease purchase plan. Each one of the 5 payments would have been approved for $160,954.15. The total cost of the vehicle being $804,770.75. That was approved at the May town meeting. On July 30th, we were informed by FEMA that we were chosen to receive an award for our new truck. The total grant amount was $714,210. $704,210 to be used towards the purchase of the truck, and $10,000 to be used towards training. When we did the grant application, we submitted $750,000 as what we had thought was be the total price. That was the max that they were giving anyways, and we're basing it on just some estimates from some dealers on what that type of vehicle would cost. It wasn't until we prepared for last town meeting that we had some actual quotes from different companies. So we put the truck out for bid. We accepted the grant, actually. The truck went out for bid, and we awarded it to a company called Rosenbauer. Now, when I came to town meeting, I had said that we found a company that could build the truck with no modifications to the building, and that virtually there was only one company that could do that. And what happened in the meantime, we were approached by another company that said, we think we can build you a truck that's better, that can fit in your building. It went out to bid, and actually it missed the height requirement by 1 inch, but the vehicle came back at 25,000 less. So we had some contractors come out, and we looked at how much we could actually raise that door up. And we know we can get 6 inches out of the door, and the cost to raise the door, put the ladder truck now in our center bay, move over the vehicle exhaust system that we have, and then cosmetically finish the building, just repairing the vinyl siding, is somewhere around $10,000. So even with that additional expense of modifying the building, we're able to it's still $25,000 savings. It's costing us $10,000 to modify the building, so we're still saving $15,000. So tonight, what we're asking for is $100,000 to be transferred out of the $160,954.15 that was approved at the May town meeting. What that will do is give us the matching funds. We have matching funds of approximately $50,000 that need to be contributed towards the purchase price of the truck. It'll give us enough to modify the facility. This vehicle that we decided to go with, which I said was an inch bigger, it's far superior to what we had even imagined we could get. The truck we had presented at town meeting was great. It was an aerial tower, but it didn't have climbing capabilities of the ladder. And this vehicle does. We can climb that ladder and get up into the bucket even though we have it extended over 75 feet. The major advantage of this truck is that it has electric nozzles that are on the actual tip of the platform. So even if we have a 2 or 3 man company that responds to a fire and we need to put up that aerial, we can operate it from the ground and open up those nozzles and direct the nozzles from the ground, which is something we would not have been able to do with the truck we presented at town meeting. So those are the reasons why we awarded it to the company we did. With the grant, one of the additional there's some additional requirements that come with getting a grant of this size. So FEMA wants to make sure that all of our personnel are trained. All personnel that operate the truck have to complete an NFPA approved emergency vehicle operations course. So that's an additional expense. We have to have 16 hours of paid training for each member of the department. We had to develop some safety policies, seatbelt policies, basic driving policies. I feel that $100,000 will be enough to equip it as we presented in the grant. When we wrote the grant, that we said we would have a full complement of hose, it would be fully equipped, and I feel with $100,000 we would be able to do that. Possibly we won't need exactly that amount, but I felt comfortable that we could do it for $100,000 or less.
Thank you, Chief. Finance Committee's recommendation.
The Finance Committee recommends and would like to thank the Chief for applying for the grant. Thank you very much.
Okay. Finance Committee recommends. Any discussion? Seeing no evidence thereof, all those in favor of Article 1 as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Article 2. Okay, Article 2 is proposed by the Board of Selectmen. Mrs. Boyd.
Mr. Moderator, I'd like to move Article 2 as printed in the warrant.
We have a motion and a second to vote on Article 2 as presented in the warrant. Mrs. Roy, it's your article.
This article will return $16,954.15 back to the taxpayers to reduce the tax rate. That was part of our commitment when we received a grant from the federal government that we would make, that we would return the remaining funds that we didn't need to fulfill our fire truck. So it's good news.
Okay. Finance Committee's recommendation.
The Finance Committee recommends.
Finance Committee recommends. Any discussion on Article 2 as presented?
Mr. Moderator,
Yes.
I was just going to ask if we could have a report from the assessors on what that would do to the average tax bill.
From the assessors, we have an assessor here. Up in the middle.
Yeah.
Karen Trudeau, assessor. The 60,000, almost 61,000, will drop the tax rate approximately 8 cents.
Thank you. We have a hand in the back. Yes, sir.
Hi, Jason Conroy, 21 Jordan Road. So so next year, the year after that, the year after that, the year after that, we're required by the grant to next year return $160,954.15, and then for the 3 remaining years. So that'll automatically go back?
No, it will not. In fact, these funds weren't raised on your tax rate. We typically purchase capital items using free cash, which is money left over within the budgets from the previous year. The commitment was for this year. When we do our capital plan, we were using free cash in order to satisfy that payment, and it wasn't going to affect your actual tax rate. So when we go to do the capital plan next year, we'll see what items are needed, but our commitment is never to overpay on things that we don't need. And the great thing is about town meeting is those of you who come to town meeting are the ones that vote on the particular item. So if you don't feel that it's a good idea to purchase something, then we do not do it.
All right, so I mean, we can't use that any more of that free cash that we allocated to reduce the tax rate even more?
Yeah, your question is exactly what?
I'm just wondering if, we had that free cash available for something we needed, why not give a little bit more of a break to the taxpayers? That's my only question.
So Celia's got an answer for it.
What we have available tonight is simply what's in the article. What happens with free cash each year is that it has to be recertified. On June 30th, in essence, we close our books. Several months later, the state certifies the free cash amount. In May, if the town meeting wants to, and there's an article on the warrant to do so, some of that free cash can be used to, in fact, lower the tax rate. But because we're now past June 30th, and because that closing the books has happened, but not the certification of free cash, there's no free cash per se to use tonight. What we can do is, because we had originally appropriated the $160 or some odd $1,000 back in May, all that money's available. $100,000 is going to go towards our matching share against the grant for the new fire truck, along with the associated expenses. The remainder, the $60,000 some odd that's after that's still in the article, having transferred the $100,000, is available tonight through this Article 2 to lower the tax rate. That's what we've got available tonight.
Any further discussion on Article 2 as presented? Seeing no evidence thereof, all those in favor of Article 2 as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. The final article is Article 3. It is proposed by the Elementary School Committee. Mrs. Small.
I move that the town vote to transfer the sum of $11,892.64 from Article 30 from the elementary school computer equipment of the annual town meeting of May 11th, 2015 towards the purchase of a replacement telephone system at the Halifax Elementary School.
We have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. You'll notice that the only change is that instead of $11,000 from the article as printed, it's $11,892.64. Mrs. Schmalling, it's your article. Would you like to present it?
We had originally allocated these funds for technology in the building, however, the money was not used or was left over, and so there was an issue with the phone system here in the elementary school, and if you have children and tried to call here, you may have experienced some of that. There's like static on the line and things of that nature, so we felt as a committee that we would like to ask the town to allocate this money to repair the phone system. Please, great.
Finance Committee's recommendation.
Can the town accountant speak first and then?
Yes, you have something to say?
Just a clarification that money is coming from Article 30, not Article 3.
Did I say 3? Sorry. Sorry.
Oh,
This is Article
actually, the motion did say Article 30, I apologize. I'm going to reread the motion just so it's accurate. So the motion was to move that the town vote to transfer the sum of $11,892.64 from Article 3.
30.
Article 30, elementary school computer equipment of the annual town meeting of May 11, 2015, towards the purchase of a replacement telephone system at the Halifax Elementary School. You all right? Article 30, $11,892.64. Now you have a
The
recommendation?
finance committee recommends.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the article? If you don't understand it, it's perfectly understandable. All right, thank you for your patience. Seeing no evidence thereof, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Mrs. Boyd, we need a motion to dissolve this town meeting.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Garrett.
I move that we close the special meeting for this evening.
Okay, we have a second? Second. Motion and a second to dissolve the town meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you all for coming out.